Oh, hey, great Monday evening. It is an interesting Monday evening, I would say, in the city of Brownsville, in that I'm not there, but I hear that it's just because Frankie's here, and now the weather. I hear it's been raining.
Yeah, did you get rain where you're at? Because we didn't get very much.
I didn't get any
Frankie?
rain. Oh,
Yeah, it rained a lot. I probably got a good patch for like 15, 20 minutes, and it was pouring for a while.
Oh, okay.
well,
We hit.
there was some accidents out there. No, I know I didn't see all of them, but I got at least like three of them. There was one horrible one going towards Port Isabel, where a truck overturned and stuff.
Today?
Yeah, I guess it's today. I'm kind of a little bit on the lost side in regards to like
Time?
time.
What time is it over
It's
there?
it
4.
is 4 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, but it's Tuesday, 4 o'clock, right?
It's Tuesday, 4 o'clock in the morning. It's crazy. So I kind of get lost in time. I have to subtract 7 hours to más o menos try to grasp and understand. One thing that I'm also suffering with a lot is that I get messages and I'm going like, I'm not here. I'm not. You're messaging me and calling me at 2, 3 in the morning. And it's just different. But even then, I still try to respond. I do my best to go out there and respond to every message, even when it's at 2, 3 in the morning. I try.
Okay. All right. So what are we hitting today?
Oh, it's kind of one of the things that I was thinking about last night. Actually, I was going like, what in the hell am I going to talk about? Because I've been kind of like void on you, so I appreciate that y'all are here because I'm a little bit outside the loop. Emanuel, a little bit outside the loop en regards a qué te pasa, las taxas suben en BID. But I did get to see that. I was shocked. Uh,
That's
I
the
was
only reason why I'm here tonight because I take Mondays off. But yes, what the
and
hell?
Tuesdays and
What,
Wednesdays and
huh?
Thursdays. No, nothing.
Yeah, that too. Whenever I can. But Mondays for sure. Mondays is a for sure. I'm not showing up today. Except someone sent me a teacher friend of mine sent me a screenshot of I hadn't even been paying attention to Facebook. A screenshot of BISD's meeting today and decision to raise taxes. What? Why? I mean,
But,
because you need money, but why?
but isn't it trippy that it kind of loses the impact, I would say, of going out there and having a special meeting. You know, why even have a special meeting if this was brought back from that regular meeting, and if
Yeah,
in the regular meeting, you're already convinced that this is the right thing to do, why even table it? I mean, if their conviction is, hey, we're going to have to go out there and raise taxes, why call for a special meeting to hurt the community even more?
was it
It's
because
already hurting
maybe
them.
maybe they didn't have enough people? Did they maybe have two people on the fence that they needed, or one person on the fence that they needed to convince?
Well, remember that they it went four to
It
three.
it, it passed. Yeah,
Oh, that's
It
right.
passed.
It had passed anyway.
Drew
Yeah,
Brown
it
was the
was
only
four to
one that
three.
jumped.
But and it's kind
Um,
of
yeah, previously voted
weird.
against it, and then she voted for it.
But it was kind of weird that she would jump. It made sense her voting against it the first time because she's out there seeking election. And take into consideration, I don't know if y'all uh, thought of this, is that these three candidates were endorsed by Best. You know, three of these people that voted yes were the same candidates that were endorsed by Best. Now the question is Best the Best is a teacher association? Is Best a teacher association really out there for what is in the best interest of the community as a whole, or them as a group? And this is what really trips me out. you have to weigh, your stance, your loyalty to that which truly voted you in. Even if you were out there and even if you're out there and supposedly concerned about the welfare of teachers and students, well, you're really hurting teachers and students because you're out there endorsing the individuals that are voting against teachers and students. Because I just don't see how this benefits anyone in the community.
But Best is only interested in Patrick is only interested in himself. That's what I hear.
Exactly.
That's all I ever hear is that he's just interested in what benefits him.
And that's the fight. You either vote for what you either endorse or support that which benefits you, or you go out there, vote, and stand with that which benefits the community as a whole. And I think that's the issue.
Yeah. So it'd be nice if we knew there, so there's no policing, right? They're not watching, taking out, keeping an eye on themselves, of course. There's no transparency, there's no communication. Where did the money go? I mean, of all times, 187 million extra from the federal government to spend over 3 years. What is that? 60 something million over 3 years.
A year.
And they're still wanting to raise taxes. And then additionally, at a time when the por si que everybody's hurting, like what are they thinking? Where is this money going? Why do they need this money? What for?
Well, well, take into consideration is that remember when we went out there, we mentioned in regards to using the ESSER funds, that money to bail themselves out of the hole that they themselves created with the help with the employee health insurance. I mean,
Yeah.
it was a mess. It was a mess. So the question is, was the money really used to benefit staff and student,
I
or
don't,
was it used to cover their ass?
I don't see where I don't see where they benefit the teachers and the students very much. Not $187 million worth. So I don't. I'm guessing it was to cover themselves, and that's what bothers me is they're leaving us to guess. What is it Erasmo always says? When you have this bit of information and this bit of information, okay, you guys got $187 million over 3 years, and you're raising our taxes. That bit, that connection, where give us information, and you're not giving us information, so that makes us think, okay, so obviously, if we don't see where it got spent, or it got spent on little pet projects, but not anything that would help the school district or the teachers or the students.
And
Well,
what's interesting to me is going back, if you will, to the last meeting where we previously talked about it, where it was approved 5-4 of raising the taxes. They went back and said, "Oh no, let's look into this. Let's see what we want more information regarding to this." Why did Ju Brown vote yes? It doesn't benefit her. So then is she essentially saying that, I don't care about the circumstances in which families find themselves in? Because as someone posted before, everybody wants a piece of us. PUB's through the roof. Rent is, high.
do that, man.
And then it's inflation. Everything. We are being pinched. For all we got. So that's the only question mark that I have. Why did Drew Brown vote yes? She didn't need to vote yes. She abstained or she voted no the last time. What benefit does she have? Is this her way of saying I don't care, Brownsville? That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like, are they thinking they're on their way out? So they're like, screw you, I'm on my way out. So, fríguense ustedes.
Well, my other thing is, I mean, has she finally conceded to the majority? And although, I don't know if y'all remember, but there was a picture out there of the individuals that these board members that voted yes to, that they were out there endorsing. They literally went out there and endorsing Phil Cowan for place one. Uh, it was Eddie, little Eddie, and Prissy Roca-Tipton that
Mm-hmm.
were out there, taking pictures at Philip Cowan's event. That automatically tells you that these guys don't want Drew. They don't want Carlos Elizondo. they want, they need Phil Cowan back on that board.
I don't know. It's sad. Brownsville once again gets screwed over. And then did you see that? What happened with the superintendent from McAllen?
Uh,
Huh?
I
So
think,
he won the award for he won the superintendent of the year award.
wow.
And then now the board is they're delaying action on whether they're gonna hire him again or not. And they're basing a lot of the decision on teacher input. So McAllen ISD is taking a look at how teachers are feeling about the superintendent. Like, you already have a superintendent that won an award, and then you're still considering not hiring him. What expectations do you have? And then Brownsville has someone who's getting paid a whole lot of money. The end. It's just it's
Too much
disheartening.
money.
Hey, Erasmo, what would you say that mismanagement is probably one of the main reasons why they're taxing the community? Because the government funds 100 plus. You would think that they would be able to stay afloat for a while, not have to go to this resort. Is this something that is a mismanagement, or they just don't care, or were they forced?
Well, I think I mean, that's actually a great point. I think that a lot of it has to do with where they put the money. So when normal people, when you have a salary come in, you decide, well, basically, tanto va a ir para el carro, tanto va a ir para la casa, tanto va a ir para el vacation, this and that. What happens? I mean, and this is the way I look at it. What happens when all of a sudden you get a big old bonus? I think Maggie was making mention of this earlier. I mean, they already have a $580 million budget, so you're supposed to live on 580 million. So what happens when you get 65 million dollars extra? You either blow it, like most of us do, or you te adelantas in some things to whereas the impact of your salary is now greater. You could do more with your money.
Mhm.
And what happened with BISD is they do what a lot of us that do. We just blew that money, and it's unfortunate because instead of moving the community ahead, all they were doing was covering their ass in regards to covering the holes that they themselves had created, and that's what's unfortunate. And vote Carlos Elizondo for BISD.
Hey, Miss Katie.
Shit.
And Victor Caballero and Frank Ortiz.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. This is what living in a Democrat-led society is like: high inflation, high taxes. Well, that's the other question. Did they vote the Democrat way? And again, it is a nonpartisan race, but is it typical of what's going on nationwide in regards to a lot of the decisions that are made at that level? I mean, look at how bad inflation is right now. Look at how bad the prices of everything. It's not going back down. And I know one of the fights that I've had with John White in the past is that exact same thing, because at the end of the day, all these policies in regards to where we're at with our utility rates, with the price of gas, and with everything else, is based on the crazy decisions that are being made up at the national level. Can our community, continue to take the hits? And I don't know if y'all saw, but someone tagged me on a post of a little shelter, like a little camp out. It's
Yeah.
going to cost that's $180,000,
Thousand. Yeah.
and someone said that's basically where we're at right now. As to gentrification, we're getting kicked out of our community. Is to the point where we can't afford what's going on in the community. I mean, can the community take much more of this? I just don't see it taking much more. Time to put the brown.
Now, do you expect, Maggie, that this is gonna be like the thing that drove people or motivated people to go vote. PUB is high. Are the teachers going to rally this time? The teachers have they have a lot of power if they really united together and forgot about the best candidates. They could probably sway an election. But
They can.
we see the voter turnout. Do you think this is possibly going to be that one thing that says, we got to go out in large groups to go vote?
Unfortunately, I don't think so. I don't know what else. Well, I've seen. To me, the school board has done other things that is equally, if not worse than raising the taxes, and the teachers still didn't do anything. I mean, we have the board that we have because they didn't go out and vote when we had no leadership during COVID. How much extra is it going to be, do you think, an average of month? How much will the taxes go up?
Well, I think at this point, it could go up 1%, and it's still going to desperately hurt a lot of the folks out there. I mean, there's just no way that this doesn't add on to the hurt that's already being suffered by the community. Take into consideration taxes, appraised values of the properties went up. They're paying more in those taxes. County voted to increase, their tax base. It's just an add-on to a very, very horrible situation. You would think that BISD, with such a huge budget, would say, hey, let's tighten up, let's go where we need to go and start cutting where we need to cut. But what Sound Mind mentions is so very, very true. As I just got a message right now. And I'll make a comment to the message, but it was Sound Mind says is very, very true. It's really, really unfortunate that we didn't cut from the top. We cut from the bottom. And what hurts, Maggie, is we cut from the group that is most affected by everything that's going on.
Yeah.
With inflation and the economy and everything else.
Yeah.
That's what we're looking to cut. We didn't cut those $250,000 jobs that really would have created an impact that would have probably saved. If they would have gotten rid of one of the deputies, that would have probably saved 5 jobs just in itself. It's just very, very unfortunate. Besides that, I just heard that Cameron County, I just got the message, which I'm going to post in a little bit. Cameron County has already done away with the rental assistance program. That's going to really, really, really hurt. Having City didn't know anything about it. I just got that message right now from someone inside in Cameron County. But that is going to really, really trip out a lot of the individuals out there. Will it create an impact November the 8th? I don't know. You mentioned the last election where the teachers, Frankie was asking if it's going to create an impact. I don't know. It might. I think a lot of folks. I've been in contact with some folks that voted against a lot of us during the previous election, and a lot of them are kicking themselves in the butt. Because now they realize, wait a minute, everything that we were talking about back then basically came true. And I don't know, what Frankie says is true, or I don't know if Maggie mentioned it, but the staff at BISD has the power to influence every single election here locally, every single one. And I think that this time around, with BISD even giving the day off, if it doesn't create the impact that it should create, they can continue to eat crap, as far as I'm concerned. You on the toilet, that's what yes I am.
But with the lid shut.
Yeah, well, I had to. I have a Rob, and I wanted to at least have him not here.
And the pants are still up, Chuck. So the pants are still up and the lid's down. Let's just keep it at that.
Oh yeah, the lid's down.
Hey, Erasmo. that thing that you bought, do people wear it, or is that just to walk around and travel, or is that like the daily attire?
No, yeah, yeah. Everything that I had on. Well, that's actually one of the questions that I wanted to ask. I just haven't had the chance to ask it someone because it's tricky because you find a variety of individuals that wear different things. You've got those individuals that actually wear the turban, and a lot of the individuals that wear that Egyptian dress. You know, the long, which I know it's been kind of hard to believe, but I actually bought myself a bunch of those. But you know, they actually wear them, but it just depends on the individual. You know, there's a lot of people that are wearing the dress, a lot of individuals wearing the turbans, but then there's individuals wearing, you know, our clothes, westernized clothes all over the place. I think the only ones that are very consistent with their dress are the females. You know, the females are consistent with the way that they dress.
Are they covered
You know,
up?
huh?
Covered up.
I've seen some burqas. I've seen a little bit of this. The only thing that's the same in women dress is that everyone covers, all the women cover their hair.
Mm.
And the covering of their face is optional, but it's not female optional. It's the male optional. So if you're married, your husband ultimately decides if you cover your face or you don't cover your face.
Oh.
So it's kind of a weird deal. I think that some of the women that are not married, they still cover their hair, but they don't cover their face.
Hey, this is gonna sound weird, but does it feel weird, like, or does it feel like cool being in Africa, or is it like what's the
Yeah,
what's the ambiance like? What, like, is it fast paced?
well, I was, yeah, it's just so different. It's just like a cultural shock, and it would be a cultural shock. I would think for a greater cultural shock for individuals that have never traveled or never been anywhere else. One thing that I was talking to Frankie about, I don't know if Frankie was on before. Uh, you feel the power of the place, you know, but you feel the power when you realize everything that's going on. And going back into BISD and into the city of Brownsville in Cameron County, you know, it's not until you start living it that you start to open your eyes. You know,
Mhm.
once you start, you know, feeling the severity of your surroundings, is when you actually start to go like, damn. And it's the same thing. I mean, one of the things that I placed on my church page is how, you know, I start to remember everything that I found in Scripture in regards to like, oh, now it makes sense. Like I did a post on the flies here. There's a lot of flies, and they're they're different in the sense that they like want to attack you. That's crazy. So it brings to mind the memory of the plagues with the flies, and I started to go like, oh, now I see where it makes a lot more sense. There's also a lot of cucumbers here, and a lot of melons, and a lot of onions, and then I start to. I start to, and a lot of onions because you know everyone smells like onions for some reason. I don't know if it's body odor or something else, but everyone smells like onions. But there's a part in Scripture that makes mention of you know that the children of Israel wanted to return to Egypt because of the melons, the cucumbers, and the onions, and it's just so impactful. But going back into local politics, it's until you start to ask questions, you know, and to get educated in regards to everything that goes on, like at BISD, that it starts to impact you more every single time these individuals make these stupid decisions that they would have had free reign on. This is what really trips me out. If it wasn't for having, you know, like Frankie's show in the morning and our show, a lot less people would be aware of what really goes
Mhm.
on because they were so used to doing whatever the hell they wanted to do that, you know, you were just forced to grin and bear it. I mean, right now we could talk about the taxes. One of the things that Carlos Cascos did, I don't know if y'all saw that post, where Carlos Cascos went out there and put how much money Eddie Trevino made, how much
Mhm.
money he made off of Tanasca. And this is while he was county judge, guys. county judge.
Yeah.
The guy still raked in over $1 million, over $1 million. And then, and this is how greedy these people is, and then gives himself a 20-some% raise
You know
in
what,
the middle
Osmo?
of COVID.
Are you just gonna bitch about it right now?
Am I just gonna bitch about it? Yeah.
Hey,
That's the other one.
go back to y todavía con with an attitude. Go back to Justin Weaver. The last comment Justin said. This one. But see, that's the problem with the mentality in Brownsville. It doesn't matter if you vote, it's all rigged and corrupt money talks, bullshit walks. No. That's the que te valga attitude. That's why we're where we're at, because nobody takes a. In some way, it is rigged. I'm not going to argue with you. In some way, it is rigged. And once you get the people in that are doing the rigging, that's when it just gets worse and worse and worse. But if people take the time to vote, if more people would educate themselves with what's going on and go take the time to vote, then that's when we can get change.
Yeah, May's right. They want you to stay with that mentality. They want only their 10% to go out there and vote. But again, I don't know, Frankie, I don't know if you remember, I think we covered it some time back. Isn't it embarrassing, though, that places like Matamoros have uh, 80% of the registered voters go out and vote. In Brownsville, we've got 10. I mean, that's
10%.
embarrassing.
Yeah.
I mean, and we consider Mexico like one of those third world countries type of situations. That's what's really, really unfortunate.
Yep.
And what I wanted to ask real quick, so over $100 million for Tenasco was raised, and 30% of it was to either consultants.
Yes.
Is there a way, obviously, to have some sort of accountability, like, okay, so much was spent on attorneys, so much was spent on design, infrastructure, on contractors, on marketing, on management, on is there, like, we have to go back, right? We would have to, I guess, just request it.
Well, think of this, Frankie. It's like I think you mentioned this on your show the other day. I mean, how much money is squandered at the at the city level, at the county level, in regards to the resources that are actually supposed to go out there and make an impact on the community. How much of that is actually squandered on consultants, on vendors, on these different individuals that are really the only ones that are raking in from a lot of these monies coming in, is with the high salary that the city government was paying themselves. They still had to go out there and get 2 million, $1 to $2 million in consultants to basically do their job, and that's what's unfortunate. Now, Frankie, can you imagine what would have happened if this arena would have passed? No, it would have been a disaster for Cameron County, a disaster, because there was no generating any funds. I mean, until this thing was even built, and even still, it was still going to go into debt. I mean, think of the sports park. I mean, the sports park is a perfect model. I mean, we're still in the hole. We're still in the red with the sports park, and we're still paying for it. Hasn't yet to generate $1 to the city of Brownsville, and that's what's unfortunate.
And what was it? Go back. Sorry, I had to walk away because I'm baking a cake. Go back to what Arispe said. This one. Let me get this straight. BISD raised taxes. Brownsville raised taxes. The county raised taxes. Y'all are getting bamboozled by by PUB. Your mayor's a millionaire chueco. Unos vatos deben millions. If this doesn't make you want to go and do something, like, I don't understand the mentality of not getting so effing pissed off and so effing annoyed that you're gonna go do something about it.
Well, part of it, and Frankie, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I think part of the problem is that a lot of these people, they still believe the crap that is being fed to them by the mayor and by the county judge and by the superintendent. it's somebody else's fault. Because I mean, Trey Mendes and Eddie Trevino were very, very staunch in saying that the part of the problem with what's going on in the city of Brownsville is Greg Abbott's fault. And before it was Trump's fault, and Greg Abbott's fault. Now they don't blame Biden. Now they just say it's Greg Abbott's fault. But again, it's the finger pointing upwards with no solutions down here at this level. That's the issue.
Yeah.
And but is it like a phenomenon where just about every seat, every board, mismanagement, raising taxes, BISD commish not being vocal about PUB sucking us dry. It seems as if every position there's no direction. The community is not benefiting from it in no way. At the county, Erasmo, the interesting thing about the county is, okay, I value what Judge Carlos Cascos has to say when he said he's a CPA. He says Cameron County announces they're 5-6 million in the hole, and then magically, hey, oh no, we reshuffled numbers and we are back in, we're out of red. It seems as if these leaders mismanage, aren't the position aren't the people for the positions, because everywhere we see how the community has not been benefiting from it, and we should have individuals on those seats who are or will respond to the community.
I
Well,
think it's a little bit of what Erasmo says also, in that we get complacent with, well, that's the way it is, and ni modo. And also what Erasmo says, in that it's all these connections, it's always the same people, it's always the St. Joe crowd. And so for too long, Brownsville and Cameron County people have sat back and keep saying, here's the Vaseline, just keep screwing me over, without doing anything, because it's either the que te valga or it doesn't matter. Whatever I do doesn't matter. And I keep thinking what Eliseo, what's his last name, said, the one that is Joey Lopez says,
Davila.
yeah, that he was at a party and he said, Daniela's going to win because only the rich people vote. And I'm guessing only the rich people vote because they're the ones who know they're going to be raking in the bucks once their compadres are all in. And it has to get to a point where, what is it called? I can't think of I want to say bluegrass, but I know that's not it. Movement. Where the people have
Grassroots.
thank you, grassroots. The people of the everyday people have to get pissed off enough and go do something. Go
Well,
vote. Go
well,
make a
it's
move.
like that. I mean, I don't know if you'll remember, but the mayor of the city of Brownsville went out there and responded responds to everything that we say, which is, I guess, just very flattering. But when the mayor went out there and put up his utility bill, this is how stupid this man is. He goes out there and puts out his utility bill, and he goes, "You see, I'm in the same situation as you are." And I'm going like, "Bitch, you're not in the same situation that we are in, because you're out there raking in millions. For you, paying $600 a month, $700 a month is nothing." And this is part of the problem. And Maggie mentioned it. Raising the taxes, at the BISD, at the city, at the county, it's going to hurt, everyone a little bit, but it's going to hurt the individuals that are wealthy a lot less than the individuals that are not wealthy, like most of us on this panel, except for Frankie. Frankie's got cash. Maggie, don't slip into the void along with the community's money and resources. Oh, good, you're back. And she's gone because she's making a cake. As I don't know, my question is, Frankie, do you think that the community can take much more?
It's hard to put this into perspective, but it's true. It really is true. People don't go out to vote. People just simply don't care. Like people, um, and what I think it really is, Erasmo, is that we're so used to being taken advantage of. We're so used to having these individuals that get on there and do what's in their best interest.
Mm-hmm.
And while the community, we don't thrive, we don't have opportunities, we don't have those resources. And for whatever reason, it's that loser's mentality, I guess, that, why fight? It's already rigged, it's
Mm-hmm.
already fixed.
Mm-hmm.
So why even try? But that's not what our principle should be. That's not what we shouldn't stand by idle. And I think that's what we fall short on. That is why Bronzo guys on paper, it's what, closer to 185, 200K on paper. Registered voters that only, we'll be lucky if we get 10,000 on a good election. Our election was brought out 30, 40,000, but on their bigger scale, it's not that big of a percentage. So it's just, we are feeling it from everywhere, and maybe the community we will see an increase, but I don't see it. I don't know. I don't know. I want to be a believer. I do want to believe that the people are like, you know what, I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we could go down the line from the city commission. We need to ask those that are coming in on the next election in March and May. What's your stance on the city charter? BISD. What are you going to do? Are we more transparent? These board members haven't done jack squat, and I'm not saying it to be a sore loser, but these guys, what have they done? Like, there's no direction, no guidance. At the county, we're 6-7 million the hole. They wanted to shove $100 million down our throats, not once, guys, but twice.
Twice.
We get it from everywhere. Everywhere we
Mm-hmm.
look, they're and if my people are okay with that, if my people say, you know what, me la doy por vencida, that's up to y'all. But like, something's got to give, and we got to keep on fighting. We got to keep on trying, and let's get out of that mentality of my vote doesn't matter. I don't matter. We have a lot of power within our vote, within our presence. We just need to be more vocal and be a little bit more active.
And I
Oh,
agree with what Erasmo says too. And it's not just about me going to vote. It's about me making sure other people go to vote. And if they need the ride, then I'm going to provide the ride. If they need
oh,
the reminder, then I'm going to provide the reminder.
oh, one thing that let me tell you, I think, and I've started to see a couple of them already, guys. I'm starting to see a lot of the disconnection notices in regards to individuals that are unable to pay their light bill.
They're
What's going
sending
to
them
happen?
to you.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've already posted a couple of them, and again, this is just some of the individuals that feel comfortable in regards to sharing this information with you. Now, what's going to happen now that the Cameron County, according to what I just received, County has stopped the assistance towards rent and utilities. I mean, is there going to be a greater number of individuals out there that cannot afford? What are they going to do? What is the community? Where are they going to turn to? You know, I don't know if y'all consider this, but what's going is our crime rate here locally going to go up substantially at a time that we're understaffed, both at all first responder entities. I think Carlos, and I wish we had Carlos Elizondo on because he was the fire chief at one point. Maybe he could come on tomorrow night, but give his take in regards to how is the safety of our community, going to be now that we have tens of thousands of illegals uh, at our downtown. I don't know if y'all been to downtown, guys,
No.
but let me tell you, there's red bags, black bags, blue bags all over the place out there. Tens of thousands. So we've got these individuals that are coming in that are not providing a resource to the community at this point. They're just eating up the resources of the local community. Because, I mean, you could go out there and argue that they receive money from federal and state, well, not from state, from federal, but it still is not creating an impact to where there's the constant generation of funds. So you've got that going. You've got individuals that can't pay their light bill. You've got individuals that just can't pay their property tax because their appraised values have gone through the roof. Now they're going to pay more in taxes across the board. I mean, how much more can we take as a community?
So you think people are going to be pushed to the brink of stealing and breaking the law and trying to make ends meet any way they can?
How else are you going to put a plate of food at your table? How else are you going to sustain that lifestyle that maybe, you know, getting a lot of handouts, a lot of assistance out there, and then not receiving it anymore? how are you going to return to that lifestyle? I mean, you have one option, and that one option is going out there and taking from those that have, and going back into the rounded community stuff. At the end of the day, isn't that going to affect the rich as well? I mean, is that where you're taking us to? So to those 10%, 12% that are guaranteed voters, do you really want to thrive or raise your children in a community that is so dependent on the handout? That at this point it's placing your whole family is life in jeopardy, and not only your kids. I don't know if you remember, Frankie or Maggie, back during the COVID. Parezco viejito. Well, during la COVID, but during COVID,
during the vid.
I don't remember, but during COVID, guys, people were dying because we didn't have enough ambulances out there going and
Yeah.
picking up.
And I was
And
going to say, I was going to bring that back too, except, Frankie, you're going through the comments too fast. Go back to, remind me right now that I want to say something about the hurricane too. Go back to, what's his name?
you have control of the comments, so you could go
I
back to.
know. I just realized that. Hang on, let me minimize this and go to that. So going back to Justin Weaver. This one. Every time I vote, I never see change. I'm tired of people running for office and promising the world, and when they get into office, they forget about the people they elected them in the position and ignore you, and don't listen to you. So, Justin, what I feel like is you're already doing a good thing. You're already watching this show, and you're trying to get educated, and you're trying to get woke on what's going on. Now you need to go to the next step, and the next step is you hold these people accountable for what they promised us and what they are um, doing as far as making their promises come true. What Susan does, what Ashley does, what Erasmo does, what I do when I go to the school boards meetings is you go and you hold these people accountable, and so that's the next step, because if you have to be the change you want to see in the world. And I think, as corny as that sounds, I firmly believe in it, and I'll be the first one to say, pre-COVID I was not that involved. I was not that involved politically. I try to keep up with current affairs, but I was more involved with what was going on worldwide and nationwide. I could have told you what was going on in Washington, D.C. and in other nations before I could tell you what was going on in my city. And that's one of the things that Erasmo has really opened up my eyes, is how much more my decisions on my votes in town affect my life more so than nationwide and worldwide. So that's one of the things. And what the other one that I wanted to bring to was that what Rudy said. Great. So this is what, Justin, what you need to do. Let's get together and make a change. Start holding people responsible. Sometimes it's as easy as a phone call and an email, and calling up and saying, Commissioner so and so, what are you doing to help my neighborhood do better? Now, this one, Chuck, what Chuck said, you can't provide the right because GOP said that's illegal now. How much are they going to hold us? I had forgotten that there's certain things we can't do anymore. But how much are they going to hold us accountable to that? Like if they see me driving people up.
No, I'll correct Chuck. Look, Chuck, and again, part of the problem is from your previous comment in regards to, well, Erasmo's running in the wrong party. Your upcoming thing. Is on the wrong political party. They said actually he wanted to get on Trump's coattails, and I don't give a rat's ass about Trump. And this is part of the problem, because you are doing exactly what the city, BISD, and the county want you to do. They want you to focus on the party matter and think that everything is Trump's fault. Trump's been out of office for about 2 years now, almost 2 years, and people still want to blame Trump for everything that's going on locally. And let me tell you right now, Chuck, as much as you may want to hate Trump, Trump didn't cause the 4 or 5% tax increase that we're going through at BISD. Didn't cause BISD to squander 189 million of your dollars. Didn't cause the city of Brownsville to squander 185 million of your dollars either. And again, it's not a political matter anymore. But going back into your you cannot go out there and bust people to vote. That's not what they're defending against. What they're defending against is these individuals that go to to these daycares,
Adult
the
daycare.
daycares. Yeah, they go out there and the nursing homes, and they fill those vans with individuals and say, "Hey, let me take you on to this place, and these are the individuals that you need to vote." Frankie, you've seen the vans, Frankie. You've been standing out there. I mean, how many times did we see those huge vans going out there to get the viejitos out to vote? And it's just so unfortunate because all those viejitos is that you give them a cookie and you give them a juice, and you can literally tell them who to vote for, and that's what's unfortunate.
And going back to now, we're all just sitting here watching Ian hit Florida, thinking, "Thank God it's not us this time." Unfortunately, that's what most of us knee jerk reaction is. It's not Texas right now, so we're doing good. But as soon as we get a hurricane coming our way, we're going to be in a whole lot of hurt if we're short staffed on cops and ambulances and different types of officers.
Well, let me tell you, we have, as a community, have been so very blessed
Mm-hmm.
that we haven't been hit. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
the freeze that happened a year and a
February.
half ago, back in February, guys, last year, that freeze should have been an eye opener to a lot of individuals out there. We are not prepared. We are definitely not prepared for
And
something
it's
major.
sad that it's a year and a half later, 18 months later, and we're still not prepared. What have our city leaders done to help us get ready for this winter? What do you see that they've done? I don't see that they've done anything. So
Well,
a year and a half has gone by, almost 2 years, and we're still not ready for an emergency.
well, it's the same thing that's happening at BISD. They get these extra $67 million a year, and they have to cover their first mess. So there's no progression because they're constantly going out there and covering their butt, covering their butt, instead of using that money to actually move the district forward. And it's the same thing throughout the city, the county, and every single other elected agency, governmental agency out there. They use the resources that should be used to improve, to better the community, to cover their tracks. So that you cannot find those uh, $1 million that Eddie Trevino paid himself, for being at the helm of not only the PUB Tenasca, but also the helm of the county, and that's what's just very, very unfortunate. Frankie, I know you followed this greatly. Uh, county sheriff has literally taken a stand against the incumbents at the county level. I mean, that's a major, major stance at the county level. I've even read comments on there on how a lot of individuals are saying, go out there saying, well, you're hurting your party. And again, the focus is like Chuck. The focus is on the party thing instead of the community thing. And what impact do you think, Frankie, the sheriff going out there and publicly denouncing the incumbents? What impact is that going to have on the election?
That's something that got ugly real quick. It started off with a lawsuit. He wanted, which rightfully so, he wanted control of the courthouse to provide security, and it's been nothing but back and forth. It's what bothers me is that politics. There's always going to be disputes. There's always going to be disagreements. Egos are always tested. We all know that. But what we are seeing firsthand, guys, is that the safety of the community is at stake. 60 to 70 jobs were put on hold, we heard. And then Sheriff Eric Garza, through his press release, says that those 60 to 70 jobs, which he thought that they were going to have at one point, were eliminated entirely. So you are underfunding his department. You are uh, not providing him with the resources, the ability to hire employees. And everybody complains about the salary rate, but it all goes back again to the previous Cameron County elected officials who haven't provided the sheriff's department with adequate pay. This is going from bad to worse very, very quickly. And what bothers me is that they're not willing to see the bigger picture. That because of their misdealings, because of their mismanagement, the sheriff's department is bleeding. And as we all know, the three Democrats. I mean, I'm sorry, well, all the county commissioners, they were loyal and faithful to Omar Lucio. So what happens? Sheriff Eric Garza dethrones him, and was voted in 70-30 by the community. And it's important to note, how will this affect him? Uh, Affect the two candidates, a commissioner for precinct 2 and the county judge in this upcoming election. You know,
Three
is the
candidates.
sheriff is the sheriff going to go out 3 elections with Gus Reese and Bay? Is the sheriff going to go out there and really work it? Because hey, they're not they're not working with me. Again, the sheriff was a large vote getter for these previous elections. Every election cycle is different. We all know, but it's just a black eye, Maggie, in my opinion, for those individuals that you seek to make the right decisions for you, so you could function, you and your department could function, are the ones that are a thorn on your side and not providing you with those tools. It just boggles my mind that we are seeing politics uh, being played out.
I think that's a perfect way. Say it. I wish you could say it again, because that's a perfect way of describing the superintendent.
Yeah, one of the things that I think Frankie just touched on is that I mean, one of the things that I've always applauded Eric Garza for is how good at political savvy, how good at political moving and posturing he really, really is. The guy's an expert, and I mean, he's one of those individuals that a lot of these folks that are running for office or have office, they need to go out there and study. I mean, the guy is just a mastermind. He's always in the game. He's always on point, always in the game. So nothing that he does, I don't think anything that he's done throughout his public service as the time, even as he was the district clerk. District clerk, as that nothing has not been as that to increase his power in regards to the political machine that he has behind him. So was it a mistake by county judge, by the other two individuals who had an election upcoming, to go so heavily against one of the new powerhouses in regards to the political machine here locally? I think it was.
I think
Is
that's
that
a good point. I think they underestimated his gumption, his oomph. How old is he?
I would say he's 40 some, Frankie.
I'd say early 40s.
Yeah,
Yeah.
early 40s.
And I was thinking late 30s, mid 30s. So yeah, I think they have underestimated, and they need to reassess what they think he's willing to or not willing to do, actually willing to do.
Well, it's kind of trippy, Frankie, but isn't it like another a layer, another layer to that onion, another layer to the hurt that is happening on the community? Because at the end of the day, having someone like Eric Garza come out and say these guys are mishandling your money, these guys are playing with the numbers, which is what you mentioned. These guys want your vote. Don't vote for these individuals because at the end of the day, Eric Garza's stance and the hurt that the community is out there feeling, it should create shockwaves throughout all. I mean, he's literally going out there, Frankie, and blaming
Yeah.
the judge and the other commission and the county commissioners for the hurt they were in.
Yeah, and it's crazy because there's a public jab, press release in front of the media. And what's interesting to follow moving forward is, how is this going to affect these upcoming elections? I see the sheriff as being very strong in the rural areas, in the Harlingen area, and even here in Brownsville. And going back, I want to put my community kind of, this guy is a master politician. Every Easter hunt, every Halloween, every summer event, every
Mhm.
Christmas, every Thanksgiving, this guy was out in the community. He served as our district clerk previously, and he had you know the opportunity to go to San Benito, Harlingen on a consistent basis, and even as a sheriff, he has his presence out there within the community. So it's going to be interesting to follow. But what's really at stake, and what again I'll reiterate, is the safety. the safety of our employees, the safety of the community, and everyone involved. Because by not equipping manpower, employees are having to work overtime. They have less time to rest, and that just could possibly lead to someone getting hurt or someone being seriously injured.
Well, that's two things. I mean, we just talked about this in regards to the safety of the community. That's basically what Eric Garcia is saying. The safety of the community,
Mhm.
what's at hand. That's one of them. Two, Frankie, is something that I saw on your show the other day. Guys, have you heard from any other elected official that has addressed the situation that we are in regards to PUB, as the job growth, job creation, all this other stuff? You know,
No, no,
as
yeah.
any other politician, Frankie, from the port, from TSC, from BISD, from the city, has anyone come out and denounced the corrupt political machine that's here that has placed us in this situation?
The only ones that you see are standing up is Commissioner de Los Santos, sorry, Eric Garza, and Myra Flores. Like those are the only people. And then you see the superintendent standing taking pictures with Prissy Roca Tipton, supporting her for election. Like there's
And
no
and
there's
Denise
no
Garza.
thinking involved.
And Denise Garza parading her through the schools and stuff. I think Frankie, you mentioned this, or I saw this on one of your pages. You
Yeah.
know, he is literally parading his candidates, the same individuals that put you, teachers, counselors, uh, principals, the same individuals that put you in this hurt. All these, sorry, all these Democrats that are in power right now, all these individuals, they're parading como que they're the champions and the saviors of our community,
Mhm.
of our district. They are definitely not. They placed us in this mountain of hurt. How do you think that the individuals that placed you in the mountain of hurt are going to get you over the mountain if you give them another 4 years?
No, no, they're not. I cannot
Uh,
believe it's almost an hour.
I know it's crazy. Retired Elio, those boys in blue need and should get what they need for the field, and they are definitely not getting it. And I think
Yeah.
that's what part of
So El Arispe is a retired Leo. So I understand. Yeah, I get you as a retired teacher, educator. Is you feel for these people and you want them to do better. You want the community to do better for them so that they can help us in the community.
Pace yearbook teacher quits. I think a lot of people are leaving or quitting or the district. They're just fed up.
So BISD is losing large amounts of students, and they're losing money, and then now they're losing. Now I guess they're losing teachers, right? The
Yeah,
morale just shot.
Yep.
to that. Don't worry, Maggie. We have our most reliable PUB members ready to prioritize the citizens' Brownsville.
Todavía Davo right now is throwing salt into the wound. Like the Porcique were already upset about BISD and the camera, and then the one night we haven't really talked about PUB, and that was like, and don't forget.
PUB sucks. Anyone think that they need to cut Prescott and keep Rush? Uh, yeah. I mean, I think Prescott has been a disaster for the Cowboys. I mean, it's unfortunate that we're paying the guy. What is it, 45 million, Frankie? And
Yeah.
we're paying the other guy what, 350,000?
I feel so much better because I read Prescott and Rush, and I'm thinking, where are those politicians at? I don't know those
We already
senators, Republicans, and then you say football. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, that's why. Because
and at least Rush can throw a ball. Frankie, preach. Did you hear about the 47 arrested for the biggest COVID fraud? Well,
uh-oh.
I'm hoping that they do a lot of arresting here locally because there's a lot to go around and at all levels, city levels, BISD with the ESSER funds and everything else. We just need someone to open up those books and really give us the numbers, not the fudged up numbers that the county is giving us. Justin, you keep voting Democrat. No,
No, Justin, don't listen to him. You vote for the candidate, Justin. No le
just
hagas
take the
caso a John White.
I said that first, Frank. Is Eddie Trevino up for reelection? Yeah.
Yes.
One chicken plate equals one vote, my lord. Or enchiladas. I support Erasmo no matter what party. I might disagree with him, but at least he puts it out there. People discuss. You people in Brownsville need to vote. 100%. Thank you,
Mhm.
Chick. Love you, check. Hope he doesn't back down. Sheriff Garza. He's not.
And
He's very
Glory de
calculated.
Glory de Fuente, Eddie Trevino is running against Carlos Cascos is running against Eddie Trevino. So vote Cascos.
100%. Not a doubt.
Mhm.
I want to run for office precinct one. I think that's going to be a pretty packed up election. A lot of people want that position. Was with Mayra Flores assisting accused of sexual assault is it is her assistant. Let me say, guys, one of the things that you cannot blame the candidate for individuals that work under them or work for their misdoings. Everyone, I think everyone had already heard or knew that kid, Aaron Peña, was not a good candidate. And I think part of the issue and the backdrop of not being in the game, like Maida has not been in the game. One of the downsides of it, you're not in the game. You don't know about all the run that goes around in regards to these individuals. But it wasn't the first time that I had heard about that guy, right? Frankie, too, Frankie.
Wait,
Yeah,
so
this
she hired? Is this an assistant she hired, or is this someone that was assigned to her?
Oh, hired.
yeah, this is the son of a judge that's running for the 13th Court of Appeals. He was somebody that's been involved in obviously Hidalgo County politics. His sister is the
Chair.
chairwoman of Hidalgo County. So
Yeah.
that family
I didn't know all this.
that family is plugged in within county politics. And if you think Cameron County is huge, Hidalgo County is on a monster scale. So really can't blame a boss for these interactions that the assistant was alleged to have happened. This was before the Maida camp. Uh, so it's kind of hard for them to really vet. Yeah, they really vet that much? They're checking their phones and stuff like that. That's kind of
Wait a
hard.
minute. Okay,
No.
both of you guys are going to get pissed at me for this, but wouldn't it be the exact to you guys, or maybe not Frankie, but Erasmo for sure, being upset about who got hired at the Children's Museum and they should have vetted him better, even
Yeah.
though he didn't have. So you guys said you were holding Commissioner de los Santos to the feet to the fire, saying, if he was in charge, who was in charge, who was the one who hired him. But now you're saying, wait a minute, Mara didn't really know because she's
No.
new. That's what I want
No.
to make sure I
No.
don't misunderstand.
No. And I'll clarify. She should have known better. She should have known better. But el problema, Maggie, is that a lot of these new candidates, they surround themselves with the yes people. So you're
Yeah.
actually doing the same thing that everybody else is doing. So how does it make any difference? The problem was the individuals that were around her should have told her, should have known better, because it's something that I knew. I mean, Frankie knew about the this guy and his past and a lot of the run that was out there. We knew because we're in that game. But problema, Maggie, is if when you start to associate with those yes people, that's when the problems, when you start getting the problem. It's like with Chente. Chente surrounding himself with all these people that are like, oh, no, Chente, it's great, it's wonderful, it's wonderful. And he didn't come out and say anything about PUB, something that is
Yeah.
actually hurting the individuals and that's just bad advice. And again, when you surround yourself with individuals that are going to be yes people and applaud you along the way, instead of taking you to the side and going like, you might want to reconsider this guy, and then you make
Right.
him part of your staff. That's the problem. And again, I'm not. I'm running on the Republican ticket. I'm not going to go out there and applaud that decision to hire this guy on. It was a big mistake, and we hope that the Congresswoman learns from this mistake and learn that all those individuals that were around and were giving them the bad advice.
All right. Okay, hurry
All
up
right.
so we can go to bed because I got a cake waiting for me.
Yeah, that's for sure. Exposing the corrupt. Yes, I vote Republican, Mr. White. Good job. Gary Massa, I need to get back home to tacos by Erasmo Fly. But we fit in our. Let me tell you, I need to go to bed. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. A ver si hace la pitada. Oh, because the cowboy went. Regarding my assistant, you did the same thing with De Los
See,
Santos.
see,
Yeah,
that's how I understood it too, Chuck.
yeah, and that's what I wanted to clarify, Chuck. Like again, stupid. Again, I'm not going to negate it. It was dumb of her. It was a mistake. But again, the problem is you surround yourself by yes people. You're going to make these stupid mistakes. And again, I'm not defending Maida in regards to, oh, well, you cannot blame Maida for something in the past. What Frankie mentioned is he did this in the past, not, well, he did it while he was working with her, but to the greater extent, the accusations are for something in the past. But she should have listened to the individuals that were warning her in regards to hiring this guy on. She did. Good night, Guardians of Brownsville. Good night, folks. God bless you all. De Los Santos is part of the clique too. Don't get that twisted.
I
100%.
yeah, and I wish he wasn't. I sometimes I'm afraid he is, or he gets caught up with the clica. But I'm hoping he stands firm
On his old chocolates?
on his own chanclas, expensive ones as they are.
Well, I think that we went to the comments. Frankie, see if you could contact Carlos. See if Carlos can be on tomorrow as well. Carlos has a good. You're great for the community. Thank you. Love you too. Contact Carlos. See if Carlos might have some insight in regards to the safety and security. Aside from running for BIZ, which I think is going to be great for the community to have that voice. But Carlos just has some insight and knowledge in regards to the safety of the community. Guys, thanks for being on. Thanks, Frankie, for taking the lead. Guys, have a great evening. And for me, a great morning. Social distance, face covering, hand sanitizer, still did all that crap, guys, to each other. Continue to be good to me. God bless.